Kia ora, no mai hoki mai. Welcome back to my channel. My name's Renee. I like to read books and then talk about them on the internet. I was sitting on the couch reading my book. I've almost finished it. I do what I do. I start thinking about what do I want to read next, and obviously I've got a lot of books behind me to choose from. So I started, just picking one or two off the shelf, and then next minute I know I have got 12 books that I have now compiled and would happily turn to any one of them next. So I thought, why not sit down, do a little video and share all of these with you. I've been seeing a lot of people post summer TBRs, a summer reading list, so this can be my Southern Hemisphere winter reading list. These books don't in any way reflect the season. I mean, some of them might, but they've not been put together on the basis of it's winter, what winter books can I read? It's just purely what I feel like today, my whims on a Saturday afternoon. Who knows, this time next week I may not be interested in reading any of these books. I think it's a good pile and I'm quite excited about it. So yeah, I'm going to quickly go through the books that I have pulled. First up, A Horse at Night on Writing by Amina Cain. This is a collection of essays on writing. I, at first when this book came out, was not interested in reading it. A lot of people had read it and said it was good, but I didn't have a very good experience reading Indelicacy by Amina Cain, and so after that was kind of quite happy to just like skip her as an author. But, oh, hold on, the dog needs to go out. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'd read Amina Cain's Indelicacy and hadn't enjoyed it. Thought it was really hyped up. There was a lot of great praise for it and I just did not see it. And so, yeah, was quite happy to skip her as a writer. But I don't know, people just kept talking about it and how the references in the book were great, and I think I started getting FOMO, so I bought it. Recently, I've seen that Kat from Kat's Field Notes read this and loved it, and the reason that's important to me is because Kat also read Indelicacy and didn't love it. So I really trust Kat's opinion. She admits that she was not a fan of that book, but that she's really enjoyed reading this one. So redemption for Amina Cain could potentially be on the horizon. Okay, the next book, The Member of the Wedding by Carson McCullers. As I was perusing my shelves, I was looking at books that I've recently read, and one of them, The Road by Cormac McCarthy, was a big disappointment, and did not enjoy that book whatsoever. And this is sat right next to it on my bookshelf, and so I thought, you know what, let's give that book a go. Well, why haven't I read Carson McCullers yet? This book involves a child protagonist, which I love, whose older brother is getting married, and this child has decided that they are going to be a part of the wedding in whatever way they can. And that premise to me just sounds like perfection. I love a child protagonist. I really enjoy novels set around like big events, dinner parties, weddings, birthdays, those kinds of things where people have kind of gathered for something is always kind of interesting to me. So yeah, this sounds like it's going to be a winner, and I can't wait to get into it. Okay, next I have Forbidden Notebook by Alba Céspedes. That's not how you say their name, but that's how I have mispronounced it. I'm so sorry. This is about a woman who one day randomly buys a black notebook and starts writing in it as a diary. She starts, pouring all of her thoughts and feelings into it. about her life, her family, her children. Sounds great. It's really the blurbs on this book that have sold me. Elena Ferrante, Annie Ernaux. It's translated by Anne Goldstein, who translates Elena Ferrante's work, and it's got a foreword by Jhumpa Lahiri, who I have read and really enjoyed. So when you have that right combination of people who are in support of this book, for me it's like a no-brainer. I've also heard great things from people that I follow on the internet who've read it and said that it's brilliant. I am very much looking forward to getting into that finally. Okay, next I have The Cost of Living by Deborah Levy. This is the second book in this, what's it called? What is this series called? It's called like The Living Autobiography or something. There's 3 of them. There's Things I Don't Want to Know. This is the second book, and then the third one is Real Estate. I read Things I Don't Want to Know a couple of years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and I really enjoyed it. I have not gotten along with any of Deborah Levy's fiction that I've read so far. I haven't hated it, but I haven't loved it, and I really enjoyed her nonfiction. And I've heard that this one is the best of the 3. A lot of people say that like this one stands out amongst all 3 as their favourite. So yeah, it's just kind of been languishing, if you will, on my shelf all this time, and I think it's about time I picked it up and got the ball rolling again on this, because it's not very long and doesn't have very many words on the page either, so I think it'll be a quick, easy read. Yeah. Okay, next we have Grief is for People by Sloane Crosley. This is a book that came out maybe at the end of last year? Oh, no, it was published this year. I thought it was published. I think a lot of people were reading arcs of it last year, but it's a new release. And it is a memoir on grief. And I've recently heard a few people who've been reading this book or are currently reading it, talking about it, and then comparing it to Joan Didion's My Year of Magical Thinking, which I read probably like 5 years ago now and really loved. I think out of all the books, this is probably the closest one in my eyes that relates to winter as a period. You know, it's about death and how people deal with it who are left behind, and winter signifies like things dying and the potential for like growth afterwards. So in my eyes, this is kind of like a winter book, but yeah, I've just heard a lot of really good things about this book, and it's had high praise, so I want to see if I get along with it as well. I think recently Nathan from Nathan's Nook and Alina from According to Alina. Looking forward to that. Next, Kick the Latch by Kathryn Scanlan. This is a book that everyone has raved about as well. One of those books that kind of been saving but don't really know what I'm saving it for a rainy day perhaps. It could be a good time. It's about the story of a horse trainer. It's like very insightful into that world and that industry, but also the way that it's been written, it's semi-auto-fictional because the book is taken inspiration from transcripts with an actual horse trainer. People just talk about it in a very high praise way. It sounds like this woman is, you know, quite interesting, quite charming, and that coupled with the storytelling is like makes for a very interesting, good read. A book that everyone is talking about and loving at the moment, All Fours by Miranda July. This has recently just come out, and again I succumbed to the peer pressure of this one and thought I must have, not peer pressure, FOMO, sorry. Yeah, I just thought I can't have people keep talking about this book and not read it anytime soon because I need to know. It is about a woman who is having somewhat of a midlife crisis, She has told her family that she's going to be traveling from LA to New York on a road trip, when in actuality she ends up stopping at a motel like 20 minutes from her house and bunking there for 2-3 weeks and like undergoing renovations, or like doing renovations on the motel room or something like that. I believe she also starts like an affair and then has to deal with that and going home. So it feels like DWM, but I've heard that it's like very endearing and sweet and hopeful and has like much more of a optimistic look at that type of a character, which, yeah, I too can be fatigued by those kinds of characters. I enjoy reading them a lot, but I think I am open and ready to read something a bit more hopeful. I Who Have Never Known Men by Jaqueline Harpman. Where did Harpman come from? I don't know. This is another book that everyone just talks about it being like 5-star, brilliant, everyone must read. And again, I don't know why I haven't picked this up yet, but I promise I'm going to read it. It is this, I guess, dystopian type setting where a group of women find themselves like in some kind of underground bunker maybe, and they're being guarded over by a group of men, and that's all I know. I think part of this is it has like sci-fi elements to it, and I don't think I want to know too much more about the plot or what happens. I just know that everyone that has read it has said that it is like pure brilliance and that it's a must read. So I'm getting to it. I'll be in the know. Most of these books are just like me having FOMO because everyone is talking about them, how great they are, and I'm just like, where do I start? There's too many books that I need to read right now. It's very overwhelming. I'll probably be over it in like a week and then I'll be on to the next thing. But Kairos by Jenny Erpenbeck. This just won the International Booker Prize for 2024. It's got a blurb by Miguel Zadie Smith on the back here. It says, I loved this doomed romance. Which is, yeah, exactly what this is. It's about a young woman and an older man starting an affair and her potentially meeting somebody else and there being some kind of situation. Sounds like a bit of drama. There's art, there's music. It's set in Berlin in the 80s before the wall came down, so I'm sure there's going to be some kind of political elements, political tension there as well. I've never read anything by Jenny Erpenbeck, but yeah, interested to read International Booker winner and see if I think they got it right. I don't know. I'm not a massive list person, so don't hold me to that. Next, I have Is Mother Dead by Vigdis Hjorth. This is one of those books that people keep saying to me, you need to read this, you need to read this, you will love it. It's like a you book, which like I already know. I feel like I know that about this book, but I just don't know why I haven't picked it up yet. Sometimes when I feel like I know enough about a book, there's no more urge or want or need to read it. And so I think when this came out, I watched like a lot of people talk about it. I read a lot of reviews. I felt like I know what happens in this book so much that the thought of needing to read it is like gone from my mind, which is sad, I guess. But yes, I think I need to like try to move past that or try to realize that I will come up with my own opinions and thoughts about things. Anyway, I believe that this might have been longlisted for the International Booker last year. Am I making that up? I don't know. Anyway, this is about an artist who is kind of like just past middle-aged, in her 50s, and she has been living abroad, I think in America, for a long time, and has come back to her home country and is estranged from her family, but especially her mother, and starts to obsessively think about and then stalk her own mother. So it has this kind of thriller, psychological game aspect to it that I've heard is quite bizarre and weird. I love difficult family relationships, especially between mothers and daughters, which is why I think this book has been recommended to me so much. But yeah, it's time to go in. It's time to go in on it and just find out for myself what actually happens in this book. Next up, I have Parade by Rachel Cusk. I have been anticipating this for a while. This is her latest novel. I think it's told in 3 parts, 3 different stories. I have read one of the stories in this, The Stuntman, which I think she very first published in The New Yorker, and I really enjoyed it. So I am looking forward to seeing how these other stories come together in this novel and how they speak to one another. I'm just excited. I'm excited for New Cusk. I'm excited to finish her oeuvre with this one, and I think I'm going to do a vlog, so look out for that as well. Okay, the last book that I have on this list is honestly the ugliest book that I think I own. Megan Nolan's Acts of Desperation. I think the reason why I haven't picked this book up is because of this hideous edition. Yeah. It's just so bad. From the international bestseller to the typeface to the is it an apple in the center with the black and white photo cut out, the splatters. It also has some of the worst kind of blurbs. It's just not good. And so I've kind of avoided this book because I don't really want to look at it. Yeah, I think I've avoided this based on looks, which I know is not fair because so many people loved this book and it's the whole reason why I picked it up in the first place. She's an Irish author. We all know that I have absolutely been loving my Irish authors lately, and so I don't really know why I think that I can get away with not reading this book any longer. I actually don't know what this book is about a lot. From all the chatter I've heard about it, not many people go into detail about what happens, or maybe I just don't pay attention. The protagonist at the heart of the story is a young woman who is in love. I think it might be quite a toxic, abusive relationship, and yeah, that's all I know about this book. The thing pushing me to read it at the moment is the fact that she's all Irish and that I've heard a lot of good things. So yes, this is the last book on that list. So there we have it, my random pile of books that I've compiled on a random Saturday afternoon. I honestly could pick up any one of those books right now and be really happy. I think I don't know which one I want to pick up first. Maybe all 4s, just because so many people are reading it and loving it. But also, The Member of the Wedding feels good. I don't know, A Horse at Night, I'm so interested to see if I will get along with this. Grief is for People, yeah, I mean all of them. I just said all of them, but maybe these 5 could be quite good. Yeah, okay, cool. Let me know what you think of my little list that I've compiled. If you've read any, if you're looking forward to reading any, if you have... Don't say if you don't like any of them, because I really don't like it when people... Well, no. I hate it when all people say is, I hated that book. And that's all they offer. It's just why did you hate it? Give me a reason. Don't just come on here and say you hated it. it's just such bad vibes as well. It's like, oh, go away. Okay, anyway, yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.